Hey everyone, the St. George election this year is incredibly important. Go to votestg.com to see who's running and what they stand for, or visit us at our voter booth at Digby's Market, Red Rock Bicycles, or down in the park.
You know, when I was the chairman of the Republican Party, the privilege I had was to travel to all 29 counties and to do it numerous times, even in a year. I would go to the county conventions. I would go to the Lincoln Day dinners, and I'd go to fairs and other things. Emory County still has the best lamb fry in the state, I think. A lemon pepper lamb in a Dutch oven is pretty fantastic.
I have not heard that, but I will have to check it out. That's for sure. Well, so this actually brings up my first question. So there's a debate here. It's probably not with very many people, but with the nomination at convention with Celeste Malloy, and then this I don't know if it's a scandal, but it's about where she's lived, where you live, living within a district, representing a district because you're from an area. This is a consistent thing, and because I'm not from here, I'm trying to look at it from a third party perspective, like trying to understand all the sides. And
Sure.
I can see how representation in Southern Utah is really important. And I agree with that because obviously I live here. And historically we haven't had representation here, but maybe give me your take on the living in the district versus not living in the district. And then where is there this,
Sure.
It seems like the party itself is split on this opinion.
Yeah. I don't want to get too wonky, but let's just kind of step back for a minute. The way the Constitution reads, it's very clear. You have 2 senators for every state. So
Right.
you will always have, with 50 states, you'll have 100 senators. With the Congress, you will always have now 435 members. But those members will vary in terms of where they represent based on population shifts.
Right.
So some northeastern states will have lost representation, and Utah, for example, gained one a couple of years ago with our 4th congressional district, and probably in 2030 we'll get a 5th. So what happens is the legislature has the responsibility by law to actually draw the districts. Now, they draw the districts. People think they're so goofy. They're not geographically consistent. They don't do this. Here's the thing. They're not supposed to be geographic. They're supposed to be population. So the idea is, how do we get 4 equally populated districts in the state?
Mm-hmm.
Now they want to try the objective is try to keep counties and municipalities together the best you can. But we also are the most urbanized state in the United States. We have the Wasatch Front, basically it has this urban area, and almost everything else is rural, notwithstanding the growth of Washington County in particular. So it's the most urbanized state in the country. So with that said, what do you do? Well, you draw by population, and you have to have the equal number of people in each area.
Mm-hmm.
So our district actually starts in Farmington in Davis County,
Right.
north of Salt Lake City, and goes all the way down to St. George, and then all of the counties to the west of the Green River and south of Uinta and Carbon and Emory counties, and everything on the west side going up into Tooele. Now, Juab is the one exception. They cut Nephi and Levan, which were my wife's heritage comes out of Nephi and Levan. That's cut off from Juab County, so that county is not intact. And then we have part of Salt Lake City as part of it. Now, I'm going through that whole thing to just say this is a disparate kind of geography. You have suburban areas, you have urban areas, you have rural areas, and you have it stretching almost the entire length of the state. It's the state. This district is about 40% of the geography of the entire state.
Right.
Now here's the thing. When people say you need to live in the district, what does that mean? If I live in Davis County, I'm living in the district. Does that make me a better congressman for people that live in Washington County? Or if I live in Cedar City, then does that make me a better congressman for the people who live in North Salt Lake or in Salt Lake City proper?
Right.
See, the idea here isn't about where you live so much as who you represent. And I live 20 minutes from the district. Celeste, for the last 4 years, has lived, probably 5 or 6 hours from the district by plane and by car.
Well, and like to your point, what I would think is that the congressman representing me or the district would represent a similar demographic of that district, right? So a subset of demographic, whether it's not necessarily geographic, the location, but do you see? Are you from a rural background? Is the district, what's the socioeconomic levels of this district? What is it mainly retired? Is it mainly families? Thinking about who it is that you're representing, that seems to be more of an importance than it necessarily is like where you live. But I think understanding the people that you represent is what the expectation is for that congressional member, because we're tasking you to go to Washington, D.C., which is basically you're going to be there 60% of the year, maybe 50% of the year. They're specifically working on things that you can bring home and work on stuff specifically for your district. So, I tend to agree with you that where you live is less important as to who you are and who are you trying to represent, because the people see you as a great representative of them, right? I think
I was driving back from our debate in Tooele, and that I had with Celeste. Becky doesn't show up for debates.
I know. I can't believe you did 10, by the way. I can't believe you did 10, by the way. That's a lot. That's a lot. But you got in front of a lot of people.
We set up one in West Valley next week. Actually, nice. We're going to do the same night as the presidential debate. But I was just going to point out, I'm driving back from our debate in Tooele, and I'm thinking, I'm going to be home a lot quicker than Celeste is going to be home, because the northern part of the district is very close to where I live.
Right.
And the southern district is closer to where Celeste purportedly lives. I mean, she lives with her sister, I think, in Cedar City. And look, she lived in Beaver for 10 years. I give her that, right? I mean, she lived in Beaver and worked in that area. But for the last 4 years, she's been in Washington, D.C. And so the idea of where you live, and look, I know our Washington County Republican chairman, Lisa, is just like, this is a non-negotiable for her. And I've talked to her. I cannot help her understand how it's not that important. What's important is, in fact, if you think about it, 5 of the last 9 elections for Congress in this state were by people who won were outside their district when they ran.
Yeah. Well, and
I mean, so it's not an unusual thing. And the reality is that it's the people decide who is going to best represent them, not where their head hits the pillow, because you said it. At least 3 nights a week, my head's hitting the pillow in Washington, D.C. I'm going to be spending the Sabbath with my family. The other couple of days, I'm going to be in the district working with people, probably staying at someplace in Washington County or Cedar City or in Loa, or wherever it happens to be. I might even camp out when I'm in the district because I love living outdoors.
Well, there's lots of places to camp in your district, that's for sure. There's lots of places. You got a good district to camp in.
I'm an outdoors guy. I mean, you're talking to the guy that has been up Mount Whitney a couple of times, done parts of the Pacific Crest Trail. But in this state, I have been all over you probably name it, I've probably been there in this state, not only as a leader of Boy Scouts, but as somebody who just loves being out in the outdoors backpacking. I've dragged my kids from one end of the state to the other for political purposes, just to have them go with me and have companionship on drives through the state, but also just to be in the outdoors. I mean, Slot Canyons and the Blue Mountains and the Red Rocks. I mean, look, I even done the Ironmans in St. George. So
Well, it's hot when they do the Ironman down here. That's a bold move.
I hurt the bottom of my feet the last time. The asphalt was so hot. By the time I got to the run, because I'm kind of slow, by the time the asphalt was so hot, I literally burned the bottom of my feet through my tennis shoes.
You got to be careful out there, Bruce. I don't recommend that to anybody doing that. I give mad respect for all the Ironmans out there that do it here in Southern Utah.
Going up Snow Canyon, I saw people getting off their bike, and guys a lot younger than me, by the way. I'm just saying. And I'm saying, I am not getting off my bike. And I just would grind up that. I mean, they were walking faster than I could pedal my bike, but I was not getting off my bike. Not going to get off,
not quit. Well, I like the no quit attitude.